Hi everyone, this is Ashley from Ashley's Creations, and I want to show you this card that I made using Freshly Made Sketches number 17 and the ColorQ Challenge number 119 as the inspiration for. And in this card I did pumpkin pie right here because that was part of the color challenge, but I don't really like the combination very much, so I'm going to change it in the video that I do for you. So let's go ahead and get started. I have a 8.5 by 5.5. 8.5 by 5.5. I'm going to fold it in half so that it is 4 1/4 by 5.5, and this is Basic Gray by Stampin' Up. And then I have a 4 by 5 1/4 of Pretty in Pink by Stampin' Up. And I'm going to take my corner rounder and I'm going to round all these corners. I didn't do this on the other card, but I decided to do this for this one too. So the other one doesn't have rounded corners. And I'm going to take my card and round the corners in my card. Nope, that didn't come out very well. Try that again. I'm going to get all 4 corners. Okay. And then I'm going to take my Basic Gray ink pad and I'm going to sponge around this entire thing. I think that sponging gives cards a nice texture, a nice look to them, so I decided to do that for all the pieces on this card. And then we're also going to ink around the front of this card, and the front of the card base in the Basic Gray as well. I just really like the look of sponging. And I didn't really know about sponging until I went to a class at my Stampin' Up demonstrator's house, and she did sponging on like everything, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So now I do it on all my stuff. So now I have the card base in the other layer, and I'm going to take a stamp around wheel, and it is from the Holiday Mini from 2011, which you can no longer order from, but it's this Love Blossoms right here, and we're going to use the You Are Love stamp set as well for part of the card. And I'm going to use the Melon Mambo. Oops, wrong piece. I'm going to get my wheel all inked up, and then I'm going to take and I'm going to start off the edge, and I'm going to roll it onto the card base, or the card layer. And I'm going to do it again over here. Okay, so now I have 2 lines, and I think that looks really nice. And then we're going to take a stamp from a My Pink Stamper stamp set, and it is called Flowers and Friendship. If you go to mypinkstamper.com, there's a list of all the websites that sell Robin stamps, and they're made of really high quality photopolymer. And I picked this one, Friends Are Flowers in the Garden of Life. But there's a lot of cute sayings you could use on this one. You could use all things grow with love, love blooms here, if friends were flowers, I'd pick you. So I think there's a lot of cute sayings on this one. So we're going to take the Friends Are Flowers in the Garden of Life. Oops, no, I don't want that. And I'm going to use the Versamark pad, and I'm going to stamp it in the Versamark because we're going to emboss it. And I'm going to stamp it down here on the bottom. And then I'm going to pour the silver embossing powder all over it. I'm trying to get as much of it back into the container as I can. Flick it off to make sure the excess comes off. And then I'm going to close that and move this aside. And I'll put that all back into its container later. And then we're going to use our heat embossing tool to emboss this. And heat embossing takes a couple seconds, so you have to be patient. But you'll start to see a change in it. Let's see if I can move it closer so you can see it. And there it's starting to change. It's getting lighter. Make sure we get the whole thing. Okay. We're going to put that aside. And then we're going to work on the rest of the card. Now I have a 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 piece of Whisper White, and I'm going to stamp it using this flower from the You Are Love stamp set. It was from the 2011 Holiday Mini, which, like I said, you can no longer order out of, but I've only used this set once, so I wanted to use it a couple more times. So if you have it, then this flower is really cute. So we're going to take that, and we're going to stamp that also with Versamark. Oops. That happens a lot to me. I'm just going to make sure it's all inked. And then flip it over and put it back on. Versamark's really sticky, so sometimes your stamps might fall off. So it means I need to clean my block off. And then I'm going to hold on to it because it doesn't want to stay. And I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to stamp it. On the Whisper White. And then, oh, now it wants to stay. And then I'm going to take the Melon Mambo embossing powder. I'm going to pour it all over the image. Try and get as much of it back into the container as possible. I'll get the rest of it later. Flick it a little bit to get the excess off. It's from the edges, we don't want that. Okay, and then I'm going to move this aside. And close my Versamark up so it doesn't dry out. And we are also going to heat emboss this part. Remember, it takes a couple seconds. And there you start to see it changing. So now there it is, the heat emboss. I don't know if you can see that, it's kind of shiny now. And then I'm going to take my corner rounder and I'm going to round all these corners as well. Okay, so my camera ran out of batteries, but I kept going because I didn't realize. So I went ahead and I rounded the corners of these two pieces as well. Now this is Melon Mambo and it's 2 1/2 by 2 1/2 with the corners rounded. And then this is Basic Gray. It's 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and the corners are rounded on this one too. And I'm going to take my sponge and I'm going to ink around these three pieces as well. So everything in this card is inked around. I ink around this one. Okay, and then we're done with our sponging, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. And then I'm going to adhere these all together using my tape runner. Now let's pull this part of our card back. I have two pieces of Melon Mambo ribbon, and it is the Grow Green polka dot ribbon, the 1/2 inch, and this was on the Stampin' Up clearance rack blitz that they just had in December, and I love this color, so I had to have it. And I'm going to take some tape, and I'm going to adhere these to the back of the card and position them one right above the stamp set. And then I'm going to take the other piece and put it a little higher up, about like right there. And tape this one to the back of the card as well. Make sure it's even. And then I'm going to take my ATG gun to adhere this to the back of the card, or to the front of the card, I'm sorry. Okay, and then we are going to use pop dots to pop this up, and I like to use a lot of pop dots on my card, on any of my cards, just because I want to make sure it has a nice dimensional look to it. I'm going to peel these off. Oops, I'm going to peel the whole thing off, just the back. One guy doesn't want to come off. There we go. Ah! Uh-oh. Okay. And then we're going to put this right about here, because I don't want to cover up my little sentiment down here. And now I have a bow that I also use the Melon Mambo polka dot ribbon for, and I'm going to take a glue dot, and I'm just going to adhere this onto my card. Oops, one stuck my finger, so I'll put that one on there. It doesn't want to come off. Okay, and I'm going to stick this to the front right here, kind of a little sideways. And then I have 2 buttons right here, and these are actually, besides my stamp set down here, these are the only other things on this card that are not from Stampin' Up, and these are actually from Papertrey Ink, and it's the Raspberry Fizz, and a lot of their colors kind of coordinate with some of the Stampin' Up colors, so I bought a bunch of their buttons, because Stampin' Up doesn't sell individual buttons. So I bought a lot of the Papertrey Ink colors that match the Stampin' Up colors and kind of coordinate a little bit. So there you go. I'm just going to add them to the bottom of my card, so there's a little more elements to another element to it, a little more dimension to it. So there you go. There's the Friends Are Flowers in the Garden of Life card, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Bye.